What's up, everyone? I am going to do a live with Dr. Harry Adelson. Harry is the guy who did the 6 hands whole body stem cell procedure on me. They pulled a half a liter of bone marrow out. He's going to be speaking at the Biohacking conference that I'm putting on this weekend. And I wanted you guys to get a chance to ask a world-leading expert in actually doing stem cells in people's backs, in people's everywheres, including, those areas that shall not be named. So this is just a chance for you to ask questions for Dr. Harry once I get him on here. I'm going to do this outside too because it's a nice day. You guys can use some sunshine, so I'm going to send you some. It's very rare to get sunshine on Vancouver Island right now. So there's your sunshine. Soak that right in. While we're waiting for him to join, I'm going to be looking a little bit spaced out while I'm looking to see. Hey, Christina, ronaco, Don, Gretchen, Christopher. Tell me where you guys are from. I love seeing this. There's so much international interest in biohacking right now. I'm seeing tons in Latin America. I'm seeing tons just all over the place. All right, Rick. There's Mikey. Will you get an email when the conference gets closer? If you guys go to biohackingconference.com, you can sign up right now. And there's dosar clinics. You have to stop going to this, and as soon as you join this live, Dr. Harry, then it's going to come up say request to join. So you're going to have to leave and come back, restart your Instagram, and it'll probably come in. Otherwise, it's not going to let you in. So guys, I apologize. Instagram's algorithms, or like the way they let people into a live, it's so frustrating because I'd rather just have the person, and then before I get your attention, I'd be like, hey, I've got everything lined up, but they don't let me do that. So whatever, Instagram, get your act together. In the meantime, I'm just going to talk with you and answer questions. Anything about stem cells, anything about any other biohacking stuff, while I wait to see Dr. Harry request to join. Got a question from Peace. Who won the giveaway? I actually have to ask my team. I truly have it randomized where we use a random number generator from Google, and we're super clean on that stuff. Here's the Mikey Fresh. All right, the conference, Joni. There you go. You're asking about that. There's Gakman. So, what did stem cells actually do for me? People ask this a lot, and I'm going to talk about that before Dr. Harry comes in. Dr. Harry is with dosar Medical. They're in Utah, in Salt Lake. And what they did is they took about a half a liter of bone marrow, got my own stem cells from that, and a lot of other things like something called exosomes, which is basically like stem cell juice, the good stuff. And then I was out for about 4 hours. And when I was asleep, they put stem cells inside my spinal cord, in my cerebral spinal fluid, so it goes up into the brain, in every joint in my back, in fact, every joint in my body, as well as face, hair, and reproductive organs. And no, this is Instagram. You can't look at those. But I can tell you that there is a youthful effect from that. That's really cool and really useful. Hey, there's Hugh from Australia, Brazil, Ohio. Man, Ohio, now that is exotic. Just kidding. Energy Hacker says, are we having the conference next year? Yeah, the conference right now is scheduled for April of next year, the in-person conference at the Beverly Hilton. And there's Canelo, she's registered for the virtual one. The cool thing about a virtual conference, guys, I didn't know this. I didn't think about it, but it's hard to travel to LA and go to this thing. But we have people from everywhere coming to the virtual conference on Saturday. Thousands and thousands of people, probably 3 or 4 times more than the normal conference. And it's a lot more affordable because you don't have to travel anywhere, and I don't have to rent out the Beverly Hilton for this. But I did create the virtual Beverly Hilton. There's a virtual world for VIPs, and there's a really good chance to just meet others around the world who are doing the kind of stuff that we do, which is super cool. All right, how are we gonna do this? Harry, are you gonna come in here or what? It's doing this thing again. No request came through, Harry, because you didn't do it right when you started. So how are we gonna do this? Oh, man, Instagram, you guys. I'm gonna look and see if his came at the bottom. Brother 77 in San Jose. Have I looked into exosomes for hair restoration? I had a whole bunch of exosomes put into my hair. They really, really make a big difference. So does laser stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can go live with him. Can make this work. It says waiting for him to accept it. Is this gonna work? Oh, the eye life. You're on Zen mode. Best 6 months of your life. Love it. Hey, look at that. There's Dr. Harry. We made it.
Yes.
So I'm feeling envy of your cool surgical scrubs. I mean, you have this clean facility and you suck bone marrow out. Can you tell people what you saw in my bone marrow? Is it true that it was actually butter?
Well, it was your fat, actually. Your bone marrow looked very good too, but your fat was bright yellow, just like grass-fed butter. It was pretty crazy to look at.
So now, guys, here's what happens. If you were to go and say hunt a bison, you know, a wild bison, the way they used to roam, there were more bison roaming than there are cattle in the U.S. So if you want to blame cows for environmental degradation, you got to do that math, but that's a different one. When you get a really good one who ate a lot of vegetables and got to pick what it wanted, it actually has orange fat. And I talked to the butcher at Central Markets in Austin, and he's like, I can't sell that stuff because no one wants to eat orange fat because they don't know how good it is for them. And I'm like, no. So like they're trimming the fat off, and I'm like, that's the most precious nutrient. So because I only eat grass fed, I eat fatty cuts on purpose, and I eat a ton of veggies. You guys want to see how many veggies I eat? Are you ready? Are you ready? I eat that many veggies because that's my garden. And I eat a lot of grass-fed butter. That's the dark yellow thing that actually tastes like that. And the end result, my fat is made of stuff that is better than your fat. No offense. And actually, Dr. Harry could see that. So you saw weird fat, weird bone marrow. And what did you do in our treatment?
Well, you know, I created a full body stem cell makeover for you, Dave. You know, we did our first treatment in early 2016, and then we did another treatment a couple of years later. And I was in Tulum, Mexico. I was actually in Siancán, which is the beautiful biosphere south of Tulum, looking out over this beautiful view, this narrow peninsula. On one side, there's the Caribbean Sea. On the other side, there's these lagoons that are manatee reserves. And I thought, what's going to be the next step? Because I've been getting so many of your followers coming in. And I was
Speaking of that, Harry, Amy's just asked right now, she said, how long ahead do you have to book?
How long do we have to book?
Like, in other words, if you want to come in, is this like months ahead or weeks ahead? Like, in other words, how much planning does it take to do it?
During COVID, it's about 4 to 6 weeks out.
Okay.
It was a bit long. It was about 8 to 10 before COVID. But
all right.
So anyhow, I was just imagining Dave Asprey at 180 and what that's actually going to look like. Like, what would that actually mean? Well, if you had somebody who was that old, the first thing you would notice is how difficult it would be for them to ambulate. So I thought, well, what could we do to prevent degeneration of musculoskeletal structures? And I thought back to my origin, what got me interested in alternative medicine was going through a Rolfing sessions, where you just look at the whole body and treat the entire body, and it just came to me in a moment. Take stem cells, take a bunch of stem cells from the bone marrow, a bunch of stem cells from the fat, put in a ton of exosomes, and inject every moving part in the entire body in a single sitting.
Nice.
And that's what we did with you.
And it totally made a difference. I'm actually answering questions. So Dennis, you're asking, where is it? Doceri is in Salt Lake City.
Park City.
Yeah, so outside Salt Lake City, but Park City specifically, where the ski slopes are. So that's correct. It's what, about 40 minutes out.
Here's my view. My view's not so crappy either.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So it's actually kind of cool because I've been out there several times. You know, I've sent my parents out there as a gift, and the kind of regeneration and restoration and just extra energy that happens. It's hard to put words to it, but even when Dr. Lana, my wife was out there with you, you guys did the whole body stuff as well as the vaginal stem cells and PRP and all that. And I mean, the difference everywhere in the body is really, really noticeable. And we'll just say it received rave reviews from all parties involved. So did I say that politely? Is she going to talk to me again?
Well, that's the whole idea with stem cell therapy. Stem cells are what are responsible for tissue healing after injury. So when you have healing of any sort, it's a stem cell mediated event. So whether we're treating your lumbar intervertebral discs or your knees or your hips or your vagina or your penis or or your skin of your face or your scalp for your whatever it is, putting stem cells in that area is going to launch a healing cascade. It's going to trick your body into thinking that it's been injured, thereby launching a healing cascade.
So what about COVID and stem cells? I've been reading things about people saying that for people who have long-term effects after a virus. By the way, guys, many viruses cause long-term effects in a small percentage of people. It's what viruses do. And then you get over it. Same thing can happen. Some percentage of people get any substantial stressful trauma like a car accident. Some people get better. Some people have lingering issues. It's normal. But for those people, whether it's a trauma or a viral infection, what do stem cells do when their healing has been stuck?
Well, that's being studied currently. I don't treat COVID. I don't treat post-COVID syndrome.
Well, no
But
one's
there
allowed
are.
to treat post-COVID, to be really clear. If you try to treat post-COVID, they'll get mad at you because it can't be done.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
We all see the inherent conflict in that, but anyway. So I get it. But for people who have lingering issues that are inflammatory, that come from some unknown illness or from some sort of physical trauma, what happens?
well, we don't know exactly. But one of the things that we think happens is it just helps reset your immune system, because one of the things that happens with COVID is this cytokine storm where all your T cells sort of shuttle over into killer T cells. And so when you give somebody stem cells, those stem cells actually donate their mitochondria to convert that killer T cell to more of a regulatory T cell to calm everything down.
Sarah's asking about healing prolapse. I mean, can stem cells work on stuff like that?
I don't have any experience with it. I know that there are some people who that would be a question. A prolapse vagina, is that
Probably. She didn't say,
yeah,
but
so
I'm guessing.
that's something that would be a good question for Amy Killen.
So when I came in there, it was actually really cool because you've been on Bulletproof Radio. Amy Killen, who has been on. So Amy does the face, hair, and we'll just call it junk. The cosmetic side of things and the sexual side of things. You're doing all the ortho, like all of the joints in the body, right? And then we had Marcella, who's also been on Bulletproof Radio, the Johns Hopkins neurosurgeon, come in and do the stuff inside the spinal cord in the brain. So that's kind of like the most stem cell work you can get done in the shortest period of time. And so that question, it does sound like it's more of a Dr. Amy Killen. In fact, it would be kind of cool to do a three-way live with her at some point, but we can do it another time. Here's two more questions that I'm seeing in this thread as I go through here. Sorry, I'm wiggling my phone, guys, just because I'm reading. One of them says, Amy says, what age should you start doing this?
Well, I would, it depends on your situation, but ideally, probably around, to do like a full body stem cell makeover, it's going to be probably around 45, 50, 55, somewhere around there. I've had people younger. Usually the people who are younger, it's because they've undergone a lot of wear and tear already. Either they've had a bunch of injuries or they've overtrained or whatever, and they've kind of torn themselves down.
Yeah. Okay. What about collapsed center of a vertebra? Mascot is asking about that one.
Collapse, say it again.
Collapsed center of a vertebra or a node?
So there's the vertebral bodies, and then there's the intervertebral discs. If you have a collapsed vertebral body, we're not going to do much for that because that's a structural issue. Narrowed intervertebral discs, whether or not the shape of it is contributing to the person's pain, it's hard to know exactly, but we treat a lot of painful intervertebral discs and do very well.
Alejandro, I'm a dude. I need the boost to reset me back to my 20s. All right, let's talk about the realistic use of stem cells. Okay. Can you really get back to your 20s? I'm assuming he's got to be at least 40, maybe 50. So, and the definition of your 20s, it's how you feel and how you function. You're probably not going to look exactly like you were when you were 20 because, your body shifts over time. But what are some reasonable anti-aging outcomes, and which ones are in the realm of science fiction today, even though we're learning every day?
Yeah, so, one of the things that I've really learned in 20 years of practice is the importance of being kind to your body. So if being 20 means to you hucking your meat and doing half pipe and, being injured a lot, then that's not a good anti-aging plan.
Well,
You know,
how many 23-year-olds do you know who are like skiing there in Park City at like 100 miles an hour into trees? Like that's what happens when you're
yeah,
23. And if you're listening at 23, I'm not making fun of you. Your PFC isn't quite there. I did all that same stuff. I was like downhill mountain biking and all, and I still have this one shoulder injury from the time that Dr. Harry fixed because it didn't quite get better. So from that perspective, you can get there, right? Like at least your injuries from those times go away.
yeah. I mean, what my goal is to get people back to feeling good, doing sort of a reasonable spectrum of activities. But you know, I'm not trying to get them to play basketball with the NBA or something like that. You know, it
Yeah.
needs to be reasonable.
That said, there are a good number of very high-end athletes, and some of whom I'm thinking of like Mike Bryant, the Bryant brothers, Nick Foles, who've been on Bulletproof Radio. And some of those guys, and I'm not calling out those two specifically because I actually don't remember if they've done stem cells or not, and that's, you know, their own stuff. But many people of that caliber who I interact with have done or are doing stem cells. I know you have clients of that caliber as well, because it's unheard of that you can be in your 40s and, you know, quarterbacking a team or winning more things, you know, more tennis championships than anyone on the planet over and over and over. So I think stem cells are a part of this, but so are, you know, peptides and every other biohack. Like those guys have basically the equivalent of upgrade labs at their house, which is really cool. So here's a question from Pato Cardozo Loverde. That's or Pat. I don't know. There's got to be two people in that name. Anyway, question is, how much does it cost? So what's the entry level? Like if you're going to do a joint in the body and you want to get your stem cells done, like where does it start?
Well, the thing to keep in mind is that we do a very comprehensive approach. So if I just name a number, it sounds kind of high. But if you understand that that includes stem cells from your bone marrow, with stem cells from your fat, with exosomes, with amniotic membrane, and all done under IV sedation, it's, you know, it's a very comprehensive package. But, you know, entry level is about 15,000. Doing full body stem cell makeover, depending if it's just me or me and Amy Killen, is either 30 or 45,000. It is a tremendous amount of work that took a long time to be able to do.
Yeah.
But we also, we additionally have our tithing program, you know, because I feel very strongly that the greatest advancement in medicine, if somebody can't afford it, it doesn't do them any good. So 1 day per month, we do treatments at no charge for the medically underserved. So people demonstrate that they are living below poverty line. And then there's two pathways for entry. Either somebody's a combat service veteran, in which case I'll treat them, no problem. Yep. Or if they haven't been to combat, then we'll do it in exchange for documentation of community service hours.
So guys, you see how cool that is? Like that's how you kind of spread the love. And if you look at the cost of getting a knee replaced or a hip replaced or all those things that are going on, I've had 3 knee surgeries before I was 23, and to not have pain in your knees, it's a pretty cool thing. And what I want to get across to you here is that Dr. Harry is going to be at the Biohacking Conference this weekend. So if this stuff is interesting, and you've stuck around, you've listened to this, like, oh wait, like what's going on? I have all these questions. What if there were thousands and thousands of people and a day full of speakers, including Dr. Harry, with more information, everything recorded, all that kind of stuff? Biohackingconference.com. There's still some slots left. We're actually about 3/4 of the way full, and some of the types of tickets are sold out. It's not artificially limited. It's just because the platform that we're on that allows some of the virtual world stuff just has hard limits that I wish weren't there. So I want you guys to spend Saturday with me and with thousands of people like you at the Biohacking Conference. Hear more from Dr. Harry and dosar Clinics, and you can reach out to him. You probably DM him right now if you want to chat with him. I'm sure he'd be happy to respond with you if you're interested in stem cells. And I'll say, this is the guy I go to. I fly my parents, my wife. We go see him and we get our upgrades. And if you're in pain, it's totally worth doing this and investigating it. And in terms of flexible spending care accounts, Harry knows all the stuff you can do about that. Like there are ways that you can make it work. So I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate you listening to Dr. Harry here. He's the real deal. He's one of the greats in stem cells. He's even been mentioned in my books. And I want to see you guys at the conference. So biohackingconference.com. Take a minute, sign up now, and you're going to get so much good content, and you're going to get access to a private group with all of the other people like you who are biohackers. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And my goal is to help you make friends, build community, and learn a ton of fun stuff. I will be emceeing the entire day, and we've got the guys who did the event planning and organization for the TED conference are here at my house on Saturday filming this. Like this is as high end as I can make it for you. So you guys are gonna have fun. Biohackingconference.com. And this is Dr. Harry from Doceri Clinics, and he's a rock star. I will see you guys later.